Guns N' Roses, often abbreviated as GNR, is an American hard rock band from Los Angeles, California, formed in 1985. When they signed to Geffen Records in 1986, the band comprised vocalist Axl Rose, lead guitarist / rhythm guitarist Izzy Stradlin, bassist Duff McKagan, and drummer Steven Adler. The current lineup consists of Rose / McKagan, keyboardist Dizzy Reed, guitarist Richard Fortus, drummer Frank Ferrer and keyboardist Melissa Reese. Guns N' Roses' debut album, Appetite for Destruction, 1987, reached number 1 on the Billboard 200 a year after its release, on the strength of the top 10 singles Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, and Sweet Child O' Mine, the band's only single to reach number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The album has sold approximately 30 million copies worldwide, including 18 million units in the United States, making it the country's best-selling debut album and 11th best-selling album. Their next studio album, GNR Lies, 1988, reached number 2 on the Billboard 200, sold 10 million copies worldwide, including 5 million in the US, and included the top 5 hit Patience, Use Your Illusion I and Use Your Illusion 2, recorded simultaneously and released in 1991, debuted at number 2 and number 1 on the Billboard 200 respectively and have sold a combined 35 million copies worldwide, including 14 million units in the United States. The Illusion albums included the lead single, You Could Be Mine, also featured in the film soundtrack for Terminator 2, covers of Live and Let Die, and Knockin' on Heaven's Door, and a trilogy of ballads, Don't Cry, November Rain, and Estranged, which featured notably high-budget music videos. The Illusion records were also supported by the extensive Use Your Illusion Tour, a world tour that lasted from 1991 to 1993. The Spaghetti Incident, 1993, an album of covers, was the band's last studio album to feature Slash and McKagan before their initial departure. Work on a follow-up album stalled due to creative differences between band members. By 1998 only Rose and Reed remained from the Illusion-era lineup. After a decade of work and several lineup changes, Guns N' Roses' long-awaited sixth studio album Chinese Democracy, 2008, was released. At an estimated $14 million in production costs, it is the most expensive rock album in history. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, but undersold industry expectations despite mostly positive critical reception. Slash and McKagan rejoined the band in 2016 for the Not in This Lifetime tour, which became the third highest grossing concert tour on record, grossing over $584 million by its conclusion in 2019.
To the 60s were the kings of their genre. They say Aerosmith in the 70s was the same thing. They say in the late 80s going into the 90s. Oh, pardon me. It is these boys right here, Guns N' Roses, out of Los Angeles. These guys come from all over the place. You guys are going back and forth on these cameras here. Right here we got Stevie. We got Duff right over here. We got my man Slash right over here. Izzy next to him. And W. Axl Rose, a period after W, if you would, please. Now, here's what the story is, fellas. They say you guys are cocky. They say you're insolent. They say, honestly speaking, you guys are a bunch of wackos.
Wackos.
Now, how you guys feel about that? That's the image you guys have got as far as the critics are concerned.
We just don't take any garbage off anybody, that's all. It's simple. And a lot of people think that's problems.
Oh, really? Well, now let me ask you this, man. A lot of people are saying that you guys are blowing away the headlining act, and a lot of bands don't want you guys on the tour with them. How'd this Motley Crue thing come along? The Motley Crue thing?
Oh, we're going out with them in
Yeah.
a few days, about a week.
Well, actually, we're finding out that a lot of the bands, after they've had taken the time to like listen to the record and stuff, we're getting calls from a lot of major bands, you know, that really like the record. You know, but when they've already got an opening act set up,
yeah,
you know, you have to wait till there's an opening to go out there with them. I like what we're doing because the tours, we're like doing a little bit with this band, a little bit with this band, rather than doing like a whole year with one act.
Well, I read somewhere where you guys have a situation where you don't necessarily like certain acts. Let me throw out some names. Aerosmith, how you guys feel about that?
No, it's not. I mean, it's not even getting to that point. I mean, it's like the question you ask about, you know, like the bands is how do they feel? It's like with Crue, you know, they probably don't care. I mean, they just want to have a good time. We did with the Cult. That was a great one too, you know. As far as the other bands, we don't even pay attention to what's going on with them.
Aerosmith's a great band. We've been trying to work out something with them for a while. It's just always conflicting schedules.
Yeah. Welcome to the Jungle is the first release off of this new album. We're going to take a look at this clip. What kind of jungle are we talking about here, fellas?
Talking about the
concrete,
the streets, the city, and basically what being exposed to like news and everything else of the city, what it can do to you and how it can affect you.
Do you guys have a little problem getting this thing on TV?
Yeah, I think
Seems to have taken a little while,
Now that you mention that.
Yeah, and there's a few changes been made to this video.
Yeah.
We bought actual news footage that had been shown on television from NBC and CBS and ABC. But we had to cut a lot of that out.
Yeah. Well, let's see what the end result is. Guns N' Roses right here on MTV. Gentlemen, together on the count of 4, let's rock. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's rock. I understand that this was banned by the record company.
No, it wasn't banned by the record company. It was banned by a lot of stores. The record company was actually pretty much into it. It was banned by Warner Brothers. They wouldn't produce the album cover that way. So we had to hire an independent artist to put the album cover together. It's a Robert Williams painting.
Right.
He does a lot of shows here in New York and in LA and all over the world. And it's more of like an underground comics artist. That's like that painting sold in 1978 for like $10,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
So now it's worth a lot more.
Well, now, you know, on your album notes, I wrote here that it says, special thanks to all the teachers, preachers, cops, and elders who never believed. The meaning thereeen, gentlemen?
Just people that didn't believe in what, you know.
So in other words, you are holding one finger very, very high in front of their faces.
Yeah, when you were a kid, you know, going, well, listen to this music. No, you'll never get anywhere doing that. Yeah, we will. You wait and see.
Well, I tell you what, you guys got a good reputation out there on the road, man. I know it was rough the first night out there at the Marquee in England, as I understand it, but you guys are kicking ass right now, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All those gigs have been...
Well, you know, I also hear that...
Went from the Marquee to the Odeon, man.
Yeah. But you guys are kicking ass now, man. I mean, all over the place. You just played at the Ritz last night.
No,
no, it's last night because it's Saturday.
night.
Where's your head at?
Yeah, man.
I'm telling you, man, this guy's in another world here. Well, here's what I got to ask, because I understand it. When you guys go, you are very well known. No. You guys, as I understand it, are very well known for your interior decorating capabilities, along with the great rock and roll.
5 degrees.
And as I understand, you guys have redecorated many a motel room, and I look at this beautiful facade we have here.
All the time.
Gentlemen, if I gave you 30 seconds, do you think that...
Let's tell these real quick.
Oh, we got some dates coming up? Go ahead.
Some hotels that we're going to be visiting.
What motels do we have to look forward to?
It's our hotel tour, see?
Yes.
Anyhow, we're playing October 23rd at the Ritz. Tomorrow night.
25th.
The 25th at Poughkeepsie. October 20th. Oh, I see. I get it.
Okay.
October 26th in Providence.
All right.
October 27th in Boston, and October 29th in Lemoore's in Brooklyn.
Well, fellas, with this
Tell that girl
appetite for destruction. No problem. If appetite for destruction is any indication, you guys are going to destroy a whole lot when it comes to rock and roll. Good luck to you. And I'm going to ask you guys now, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to redecorate this room. On your mark, set, go. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have before us here is redecoration unlike any I've ever seen.
The music of Guns N' Roses is a fusion of punk rock, blues rock, heavy metal, hard rock, and hair metal. The Illusions album saw the band branching out into art rock, while The Spaghetti Incident saw the group blend hard rock with punk rock. The band has been credited with helping repopularize power ballads in heavy metal music. Since the group's 1999 revival, the band has retained hard rock features while also experimenting with industrial rock and electronic rock. In the 1990s, the band integrated keyed instruments, played by either Rose or Reed, into the band. Teddy Andreadis was brought in as an additional keyboardist and harmonica player for the Use Your Illusion tour, alongside multiple backing vocalists and a brass and woodwind section. Later tours saw keyboardist Chris Pittman, and after 2016, Melissa Reese, contribute sub-bass and synth parts, as well as reproducing the brass and string parts of songs electronically. A heavy influence on both the image and sound of Guns N' Roses was the Finnish band Hanoi Rocks singer Michael Monroe and Rose have collaborated on various occasions. Rose has stated that the band was massively inspired by groups like Queen, AC/DC, The Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, and Rose Tattoo, and that the sound of Appetite for Destruction was influenced by AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Cheap Trick, Aerosmith, Van Halen, The New York Dolls, and Hanoi Rocks. The band was also influenced by the likes of T-Rex and the Sex Pistols. Rose's orchestral-style songwriting on the Illusion albums was influenced by the Electric Light Orchestra, Elton John, and Queen, particularly their album Queen 2. Rose cited the influence of Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit in recording the title track of Chinese Democracy. Rose was heavily influenced by the industrial rock sound of Nine Inch Nails, changing the band's sound in the lead up to Chinese Democracy. Critics noted influences of Queen, Wings and Andrew Lloyd Webber on some songs on Chinese Democracy. Guns N' Roses has influenced many modern rock bands such as Fall Out Boy, Avenged Sevenfold, Mother Love Bone, Buckcherry, Hinder, Manic Street Preachers, Nickelback, Bullet for My Valentine, Fozzy, The Strokes, Sum 41, and Black Label Society.
Listen, I'm sorry, Axl was absolutely punctual leaving the hotel, but the traffic destroyed us. And sorry we're a bit late. But anyway, I just want to say it is a huge honor for me and the China Exchange to have Axl today. He tells me it's the first time he appeared in public without his boots, so don't look down too much.
No, my cast.
Now, I don't know very much about rock music. I know a little bit, but not enough. So I'm going to allow perhaps some of you to ask him questions about music. I'm just going to ask him ordinary things, like what he likes, what he regards as tender. I mean, I have this image of you as not the gentlest man on earth. But surely there must be moments when you want to touch tenderness, or when you meet tenderness. What are those moments? I mean, can you remember the last time you felt something that was rather nice and gentle?
Well, okay. And I have no idea what to expect coming here. I was asked to do this. I don't know why any of you would want to come here.
By the way, there are about 1,000 people on the waiting list, so you're very, very lucky to be here. But anyway, I want to ask you one or two questions that you normally might not be able to relate on stage as a performer.
When you talk about tenderness, that's kind of like sensitivity.
Yeah. Love.
Well, I love animals, and I've had all kinds of different animals, and I like the way that sometimes an animal will know if someone else in the house is sick or something, the animal stays by that person.
You have dogs and cats?
I had dogs and cats.
How many dogs? How many
wolves
cats?
and birds. And
Bitches?
a couple of wolves, a couple, what, 5 or 6, we had like 5 or 6 birds.
Yeah.
And, chain of chihuahua.
So you regard somebody who can't answer back as probably the gentlest class of things you encounter?
No, what I mean though is, like, but say like with cats, if you don't keep yourself open to some degree to being sensitive, they're not going to be around you. So if you want to be friends with your cat, you have to be a bit more sensitive than the world may make you. With the world.
I mean, I'm only asking because on stage you never stop, you sing, you play. I mean, it is just one huge, as far as I'm concerned, like a Van de Graaff generator, maximum lightning, thunder, and so forth. So I want these people to understand when you finish and when you go home and you've had a good sleep, when you wake up, are you like normal people who want to have a coffee and just stretch yourself and have a shower and a bath?
Yeah. But it is like feeling like you know, when a tour leg ends, there's times it takes a while to decompress. It feels like
I know. I mean, there are moments when we know that you went reclusive. I mean, did you mind that? I mean, did you enjoy the period when you didn't want to see anybody and you were on your own?
Well, actually, I just didn't go anywhere where there was like paparazzi or anybody, cared or really recognized me. I went everywhere else. I just didn't go.
If people didn't recognize
if I went by a place where there was paparazzi, I just ducked. And then in LA, just if you go to the Valley, no one in Hollywood cares.
Why didn't you wear something different or disguise
Well, I
yourself?
did.
And still you get recognized.
Well, no, and I would just look stupid if I went in Hollywood that way.
Let me ask you about
It wouldn't work. When we first hit, I left a hotel in New York and I was in a cab and I had my jacket pulled over my head. And there's a guy in a garbage truck going, "Yo, Axl!"
Was it convertible? There was a Webesto.
I don't know how he did that.
But I think people know roughly where you are. They now chase you around. And now, let's go back to the music of it, because that's your life. We talked a little bit in the cab about lyrics. And I said to you that you are one of those people who've got wonderful lyrics. And not just the music itself, but the lyrics fit. And it's important to you because I know you read a lot, and that's why you relate to words. Would you say that you regard lyrics and your music as being incredibly important together?
Well, I think it depends on the song, but yes, I've always felt that way. I mean, Bernie Taupin is my favorite lyricist, and when Elton asked me to induct him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I took it on myself to induct him and Bernie as a writing pair. And it's my understanding it's the only award Bernie has ever gotten. And he was pretty happy.
I mean, classical music. Do you ever listen to classical music?
Yes, but not like, I guess the word formally or something.
So at home, when you listen to music, do you listen to your own music or other people's music?
Only mine.
But it took you 30 years to join AC/DC, so you must have listened to a bit of AC/DC.
Yeah, I mainly listen to the music that's playing during movies. I like the soundtracks.
Which film, which soundtrack do you think is sort of classic?
It depends. It can be anything. It can be something, it could be the theme to Pirates of the Caribbean, or it could be Gladiator and Equalizer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're all different styles. So.
Have you ever wanted to?
I like the blend of orchestra, with modern instrumentation.
So has anybody asked you, or have you thought about wanting to write for a film?
Yes. No, I haven't been asked. It's something that I wanted to do, and it was kind of more like really hard not to just go in that direction and forget about
But
Guns
you
N'
would be
Roses.
interested.
I was more interested in that than staying in Guns N' Roses.
I mean, if somebody asked you to write the theme music,
It would have been easier and more fun.
if somebody asked you to write the theme music for Pride and Prejudice, I mean, would you consider that? I mean, you have a pretty violent relationship in that.
Yeah, I would.
I think you can jazz it up a bit. Well, there is. Listen,
But I have a lot of respect for the people that do that. On Chinese Democracy, most of the orchestration on that is it's kind of like there's like 3 electronic orchestras and 2 real orchestras. One's Marco Beltrami, and one's Paul Buckmaster, who did a lot of Rolling Stones and Man Across the Water, Elton John stuff, and we blended all of those orchestras together. It was like I did an electronic one, Chris Pittman and Dizzy Reed both did theirs. Then we would blend those, and we blended them with 2 real orchestras. So it's like a 500-piece orchestra.
we love that big sound.
songs. Yeah.
We love that bit. But have you thought about bringing a couple of orchestras onto stage to perform live?
Maybe for like a show or something. I mean, we did it years ago when we made the video for November Rain, but on the tour, not as of yet.
And Chinese Democracy, that's I have been banned in China.
Well, I think that the foreign minister, it was something he said, it's like that people don't like that music because it's too loud.
Yeah. And I'd love you to be able to go to China and meet the Minister of Culture. I think that would be...
But my thing with China itself isn't about, with the term Chinese democracy, it wasn't about trying to tell them to have a democracy or anything like that. I don't really have an opinion of what type of government they should have. My thing is that I went and stayed there for about 3 months, and everywhere I went, the people are so shielded from what's going on in the world. And if you stay in the hotels there and you're from Western societies, and you don't realize that the stuff you're seeing on TV, the average person isn't seeing. They're not seeing that version of CNN or whatever. But the biggest thing to me was that everywhere you went, people were scared. They're frightened for their lives to have an opinion that deviates from the government's about the simplest thing. I mean, things that we take for granted. Sitting in a car and going, somebody go, "Oh, I don't like what Obama did today." If you said, "Oh, I don't know about what the Communist Party's doing," your translator all of a sudden is terrified for good reason.
Yeah.
And
That is a soft brain.
I don't feel that. I feel that that's wrong. That's not right for anyone.
Are there other countries who feel more or less the same kind of censorship and a sort of soft brain of terror?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that we know that with, say, with the Taliban or things like that, or there'll be places in Africa, and expressing your views in
You don't want to
Egypt or Saudi,
you're not
or Saudi Arabia. No, but I do feel people should be free to have their opinions and develop their thoughts and to move forward rather than have someone just completely dictating.
All right, well, look, listen.
But speaking as a dictator.
You love being a dictator.
No.
I'm sure you do. You
No,
always
no.
have it your way. When was the last time when you did not have it your way? Does anybody...
Like 30 years ago, when the rest of the band was all on heroin, and they realized that this woman interviewing us for some tiny little rock magazine was more interested in interviewing them than me, as he said I was like the Ayatollah, because I was the big enemy at the time. And then it's just stuck.
Well, anyway, that's their loss, because we are the biggest rock star today. Now listen, we're immediately going to start some questions, but they've got to be intelligent, And if Axl doesn't want to answer it, you can go to hell, and that's about it. Now, who dares ask the question? All right, that's first hand at the back. That's a good question, okay? Otherwise, we'll be passed over.
Axl, how do you manage to keep your voice in check, and has it changed in the last 10 years, like what you do to keep it so good?
I do a lot of vocal exercises, and actually on this particular tour, I brought my voice coach out with that I hadn't worked with in like 20 years, but the Brian Johnson Back in Black stuff is really demanding, you know, and sing it wrong and you might not be singing again, so. Thank you.
All right, next one, in front. Who was going to ask the question? All right, go on. Yeah, go on. That man who looks like. Right, yeah.
Hi there, big fan. Did you ever feel that your voice is obviously a natural fit for rock and that kind of genre, but did you ever feel you want to branch out a bit more, maybe collaborate, maybe join a jazz band, who knows?
I like Frank Sinatra, and I like a lot of Elvis. I like a lot of 70s Elvis as well. So I like a lot of different styles of things. Yeah. I don't know about a jazz band. It would really just kind of depend on the song. You know, for a while, like with the Chinese, I was trying to get my voice a lot clearer, and I feel that like maybe fans didn't necessarily respond to that so much as well sometimes with shows and things, but I think it was very good for me to be even better at what I'm doing right now.
Okay, let's have a couple of questions here. Yeah, go on.
Hi, Axl. And are you...
Shout it out.
Sorry, are you making any new music at the minute? Are you working on new stuff?
We are working on new stuff, but I don't know. Like I said a long time ago, I don't know if soon's the word. But
Yeah.
no, I got a lot of stuff together, and I've played some stuff for Slash and Duff, and they like it, and they might be on it. We don't know. It's been talked about. Angus and I are talking about working together, so we'll see.
Have you ever thought of doing a solo album to like?
No, not really. Unless it was, say, like instrumental soundtracks. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Axl, how are you doing? Yeah, I just wondered, what do you think of Spotify? You know, do you think it's ruining the music industry? You know, what are your thoughts on it?
No, I don't think it's ruining the music industry, but I feel like with YouTube and things like with Google and YouTube, that it's really changed things for the artists, and they, the government's just stepped out of the way. I mean, they lobbied very hard to pay as minimal royalties as they can. I don't think that's right.
Can people stop?
It's pretty giant.
Can people stop video, please? It's very disconcerting. Let's just enjoy the conversation, okay? All right, come on. This is a rare opportunity for you. Don't record it. Enjoy it live, for fuck's sake. Going home watching your stupid video. Enjoy it now, as is, okay? Right, come on. No more fucking photographs of videos.
It's fine, I'm fine.
A very little joke. Are you sure you ought to be here?
I like your sunglasses.
But you will grow up liking and loving. This moment you will always remember. Okay.
Massive fan, by the way. Saw you on Saturday. Amazing.
You have fun?
Yeah. Is there any band, present, past, whatever, that you would like to perform with?
To join? Well, I never thought about this. I mean, what I thought about with this was the day that I read about Brian was that the band was going to be in trouble, and no matter what happened, if they canceled, if they had to cancel the tour, they were going to have a lot of problems with fans, and a lot of problems with legalities, just natural business stuff behind the scenes forever. And then I thought, yeah, and if they postpone or whatever, then find someone else. Wait, find someone else? Fuck that. So it was, but it's also that Angus is my biggest influence moving around, and I wanted to help, and I just want to help him.
Hi Axl, massive fan. Just want to say, thank you for all the great music you've done over these years. It helped me get through a really bad place in my life. Listening to all that.
Very little bit of music,
every song has great meanings. Anyway,
you remember your question?
Yeah, sorry. Starstruck, sorry. How do you see yourself as now, as in yourself and as a person, and how you saw yourself back then? Because back in the day, obviously, how the media portrayed you and stuff we've seen, you're very raucous, very aggressive, and now how I see you now, and how you have been over recent times, you seem more open, you seem more relaxed, more in a better place.
Well, part of that then also was just being young and part wild and part of it to be rock and roll. But when we would go to MTV, they'd ask us to tear their set apart, so, stuff like that. And then there was this everything that was said, and England's one of the craziest places for that, because the media here would just write anything to promote you in a way. They said I ran over my dogs and I ate them. long before Depp ate his, I ate mine, and so they said all kinds of crazy things back then.
You feel in the better?
And then after it was successful, then it was like a backlash that was just never really got out of.
Do you feel in a better place now that you're all good with your former band members or current band members now, like Slash and that?
Yeah, we're getting along really good and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they came to the ACDC show and stuff.
I've seen the footage. It was like a quick clip of when you were at the Troubadour, the first one you did back. And it was so nice just to see the black and white footage of you walking to stage and you're Slash, and the guys were just laughing. It was a really good moment to see.
Good. All right. Right. This man who's dressed like me doesn't look like me. I mean, do you know who this person is? I promise you, you know Axl Rose. You know what band he played two nights ago?
Well, let me just say, actually, that
I like your socks. You got some really bright socks.
Ask the question.
Okay. Well, what I would say is I was lucky to see you, Axl, almost 25 years ago, performing at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert. It was a great event, and I wondered if you could talk perhaps maybe a little bit about the event, or perhaps I know you're a fan of Freddie, perhaps influences like Freddie on your career as a musician. I'm also a fan, I should say, of Skid Row, and I know you're a friend of Sebastian Bach, and I wondered if you'd be doing anything perhaps more with him in future in terms of collaboration.
On that, I don't know. We're friends. I mean, if the occasion arises, and he'll probably get up on stage with us somewhere. With Freddie, Queen's just always been my favorite band, and Freddie is like, the greatest singer probably ever, and it's the way I look at it. But the other thing about Queen for me was that they embrace so many different styles and approaches, and like you were talking tenderness, there's that, which is funny, it's like with AC/DC, you don't find that much in Brian's work with AC/DC, but what I liked also about Bonds and old AC/DC was, as aggressive as that music was, he would talk about having a broken heart or something like that, so it made it okay for guys to feel and let some of it out somewhere. Something happened.
Yes, that's a lady. Girl, woman. Yeah,
she's going everywhere.
Ms. Rose, hello. Would you be interested in working with children's charities in London?
That's very possible, yes.
Shall we discuss it afterwards?
Sure.
Okay, let's have another woman. Let's get another woman. One minute.
Which Guns N' Roses song means most to you to perform, or the one that you love to perform most?
It's a very cliche question.
No. I don't know. Right now, I like performing the Chinese democracy stuff the most, but it was really good to be doing the song Coma. I knew that would make Slash happy. I knew it would make fans happy. And since I was sitting in the chair, I didn't have to worry about running around and trying to breathe.
All right, okay. At the back.
Axl, how you doing? It's really cool having a microphone talking to you.
Where are you?
I'm at the back.
Get on with it.
I'm just forming a band myself, and I was wondering, when you first signed to Geffen Records, then I think it was 1986, was there a moment where you thought, I know it's gonna happen, this is gonna absolutely happen? Or were you just terrified?
We knew that with getting signed. We knew that we believed in ourselves then. We were like, and then we had to sit on our asses for about 4 months, and it almost broke up the whole band and everybody dived into drugs and stuff because whatever the record company was doing to figure out who would work with us, and everybody was terrified of us anyway, because they just thought we were all going to die, you know. And so we were going to leave the label because like Slash and Izzy wanted to go play. We wanted to play, and we wanted to get out to New York or something, you know. We didn't get signed to sit in an apartment at the time, but yeah, we believed in it happening.
Are you afraid of death? I mean, do you feel that you haven't done as much as you want to yet, as of today?
I don't know. I don't really think about it that way. You know, I'm usually just trying to survive in some way. Like when I go on stage with AC/DC, I'm trying to survive, not just be crushed by
trying to survive.
that
I
band.
don't know what you would be like. All right, let's man with a bit.
Hi, Axl, massive fan. Appetite Destruction was the first album.
Can we use another word rather than massive? All right, like an event time, dinosaurial.
Obviously, you've been around the world many times, everywhere. What would you say is your top 3 moments from your whole career? Why?
Playing? You mean
Anything, absolutely anything. Anything you've seen, somewhere you've been, something you've done on stage, anything.
I don't know. I mean, right now, this is a very big undertaking for me, and not just, it's because a band's fans are, like, I know how hard it is. Lots of bands do not want to open for us. They just don't want to. They don't want to deal with our fans. And it's a lot, that's kind of the same with an AC/DC thing, and AC/DC fans are very serious about their band. So that was kind of the biggest thing, was even if I sang the songs right, it's finding whatever in you that's strong enough to deal with that energy of that crowd. I had no idea. I mean, I knew I could do it with mine, but that's still a lot of work, but it's also a comfort zone and a safety zone. So this was a big thing. I still got 3 shows to screw it all up.
Hi, Rich, what's that about? If you could go back in time and speak to your younger self, what advice would you give, given all of what you've experienced?
I would have tried to form my own label rather than put a record on. You know, I just think we were too stupid to know how to do that. We didn't think that big at the time. I mean, you know, I didn't have that type of a business education, and I just think that that's what we should have done.
I think you've done quite well.
We should have formed our own company and figured out how to distribute our own record, and then.
You mean in monetary terms?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you think that's more important. That makes us feel very, very small. All right. Let's have another.
Why?
Well, because you must have made lots of money. If you say that if you had done better, you would have made even more money.
Yeah, but it was not just the money, it was the
more control.
Yeah, but not as a control freak, it's just to, because of the success of Appetite, and like we were talking in the car, I mean, after Appetite, David Geffen was just, to me, was just more concerned with selling the company rather than helping things get back in line to what we'd signed as a contract to make an album. Had we...
To this day, that album has sold more than any other album in America.
No, it's, well, rock album I think is third or fourth or something. I mean, there's Thriller, there's AC/DC's Back in Black, and we're somewhere.
No, my point is that.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that then we would have had a lot bigger platform to figure out how to deal with the next 20 years.
Yeah, but I didn't see how you can have a bigger platform than you have now today. Anyway. All right. Unimaginable.
Yeah, well, that's 27 years later.
Go on, young man, yeah. How old are you?
I'm 15.
15, right, okay.
So, as like a young person myself, I usually see a lot of people with Guns N' Roses tops and that, and like, I've been up to a few people and like, have you actually even heard their music? And a lot of people haven't even heard of the band themselves, so I just wanted like your thoughts on that, because I see it all the time with Nirvana and stuff like that, like people wear tops even though they don't really listen to the band.
And Victoria's Secret models and AC/DC
Yeah.
shirts. I'm not sure, but yeah, I like when they like to sleep in Guns N' Roses shirts. But you know, the promotion's good. I mean, you're not going to people. They think it's cool, so it's better to be them think it's cool than hate it, I guess.
All right, come on.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Axl. Huge fan.
Good.
Right, I've read all the books. I've read Slash's book, I've read Duff's book, I've read some pretty dreadful books, but I'd really like to hear your version. Are you going to write a book?
I think so, possibly, yes.
Please do.
But it's tough because I haven't figured out how to word things in a way that doesn't just look like being negative to everybody else or calling them a liar, you know? Or, because, you know, it was with the first, Slash and I hadn't talked in 19 years, and when we did talk, I was like, dude, and he wrote a lot of stuff that didn't even happen, it's not real, you know?
What did he say?
Okay.
And how's your relationship with Angus of AC/DC?
It's great. I can't really explain it. I feel like just I feel something that like I feel protected, and I feel like I do not want to let this guy down. And I more than almost anybody I've ever known, and I don't know why. And he's very responsive to me, and you know, they said they haven't seen him this happy, they haven't seen him moving around, and in between songs he started playing other stuff. I'm like, oh, I like that chord, write a song around that. So that's kind of a neat thing between musicians and artists.
Go on. All right, okay.
Hello, Axl. I'm a music journalist. I started my career with Rolling Stone magazine. I have this question I've asked artists over my 8-year career. I'd love to ask you this question. If you had the power to create the ultimate musician, which artists from the past and present would you use as building blocks, and why?
Well, are you talking about anything? So I mean, you could go all the way back to classical music or something like that. So I don't know. I think it's probably, obviously there's like Elvis, but the Beatles, whatever the Beatles did, like you can hate the Beatles, like you know, there's always, you know, who do you like, the Beatles or the Stones, you know, or you can like both, but there's also the ones that pit one against the other. But though the Stones were influenced by a lot of other things, because of all the things the Beatles were doing, it helped push the Stones to become the Stones. And to me, the Beatles were like some catalyst that made everybody else realize it was okay to try all these other things and to work on all these different sounds because of how many different ways, places the Beatles went. So I don't know. I mean, that's 4 people, not 1, or actually 5 if you George Martin. So if you put all that together, so maybe that and Elvis and Beethoven.